So we're in a neighborhood now called Wazir Akbar Khan, talking about the distribution of wealth in Kabul and the effect of...
There is no distribution of wealth. This is where it is distributed. This is where it ends up. All of the money from contracts and association with the government and association with the U.S. military has ended up here.
Why?
Because this was originally, as you can see, there's no real pavement or anything like that. This was originally just empty land.
Okay.
And when the Americans came in with the Northern Alliance, which was the Allies who against the Taliban, took this land and then gave it away to all their cronies.
Oh, okay. So they created a new more wealth neighborhood out of nothing.
Exactly.
And so we still got open sewers and we've still got no pavement, but we have Rococo
castles,
nouveau riche
that
castles.
rent for $10,000 to $25,000 a month because it's a safe area. But here's the irony. Most of the government officials, and these are almost all owned by government officials, don't live in them. They rent them out to foreign companies, contractors, and they live in Dubai or have their families in Islamabad. So they are purely investment properties.
There's a sign right there on that one that says house for rent.
Oh, yes, exactly. And the reason the streets are still unpaved is that these government officials refuse to pay any taxes to the government. They're in a fight. So the government won't come and pave the roads or connect it to any kind of sanitation system at all because the same government ministers won't pay to register the neighborhood.
And so they won't throw their weight around to get their neighborhood taken care of despite that fight because they don't live here anyway.
They don't live here anyway. So you have these large homes, and some of these homes, if you see this building right behind you.
That looks like a hotel?
No, they're all private homes.
This is a private home?
It's a private home. It probably has 25 bedrooms in it. And garish colonnades and unusual architectural features. And then they'll rent that out to some Western client, and they'll charge either by the bedroom or by the floor or for the whole thing. And if you were to build, this one is obviously under construction, that's $1 million+ house in Kabul with no paved streets.
America, it's your tax dollars at work. This is the war economy as translated to landlocked Central Asia. We dump a ton of money here thinking that we're paying for our military effort. Everything that goes along with our military effort ends up flooding, or in this case, directing like a squirt gun instead of flooding.
Well, the streets flood. There was one analogy. The streets become rivers of mud.
But the money doesn't go to the country and trickle down and create an economy. It just goes to the elite and to the power brokers who can keep it for themselves.
A warlord system. There is a lot of money in war. Contracting, supplying, shipping, and if you've been in power, you keep those contracts for yourself and you build neighborhoods like this, and maybe you don't even live here, you live somewhere else in a foreign country.
This is what it's like in Kabul. It's the exact same dynamic that we saw in Kandahar, where you're talking with these counterinsurgency doctrine soaked military officers who are incredibly smart and have far-reaching thinking about this sort of thing. And because of that, they can see the basic contradiction at work in what we're trying to do. If the whole effort, all the money and everything is to establish governance, and if the whole effort is to establish governance, but all of our money, all of our spending here is only supporting the elite, the warlordism.
It can breed corruption. Just having so much money injected into an economy. Afghanistan is very poor, and it was isolated from the world except for the last 30 years of war, which was an unpleasant interaction with the world, for hundreds of years. And now you have a totally different scale of economy coming in. Billions of dollars a month. This country never saw anything like that.
But it's going to people who aren't, it's not going to build the country. It's going to people who have private armies. It's going to people who are...
Well, next to giant houses, these streets are not even paved.
Yeah.
I think that gives you an idea of how much these social services are spreading.
Right. So when you hear the government, when you hear the leadership say, we don't want the Americans to leave, we don't want the war to be over.
There is an incentive.
Think about this neighborhood.
There's an incentive because war is a profitable business for many people.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this neighborhood is actually very symbolic of a lot of the problems with this entire war, frankly. And here, next to an incredibly big house, is a open garbage pile. Because no one cares about the common space. Nobody it's not anybody's problem. And that's what you see everywhere. You know, you have a
And is this all spread out and ripped open like this? Because people are going through it to see if there's anything valuable in the trash?
Yeah, I mean, here's some kids right here. They go through it, and it's quite sad. I mean, they'll go through it and pick through anything that can be recycled or used again or of any value,
yeah.
Metal things or... So